From the day that we were born and mom hugged us with warmth, and we grew cause we knew we had all your support. From the fams to the friends, your love was medicine, keep giving us the strength to rise when we would sin, and the knowledge that we
Hi,
every single
I'm Santosh Govindraju, and on behalf of the World Consciousness Alliance, I'd like to welcome you all to the Renaissance of Humanity Conversations for Change. The World Consciousness Alliance is a global union of people coming together from all walks of life, religion, and cultures, working through the medium of the performing and visual arts to raise the frequency of our existence on this planet, bringing about positive transformation by promoting positivity, respect, harmony, compassion, love, and responsible living. WCA's mission is inspired and powered by internationally renowned humanitarian and philanthropist Mohanji, and its fundamental principles and teachings of how acting and operating with kindness, compassion, and responsibility towards one another and towards all living beings around us is critical to our growth as a species and the overall well-being of our planet. The WCA's Renaissance of Humanity Conversations for Change is a platform that is bringing together notable people in different sectors of society to offer their insights of how to raise humanity to the highest in human refinement. Before we bring on our featured guest today, let's play a video of one of his most recent productions, Grateful.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere in the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss. The gift to realize that everything
all
is
that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all. Grateful for it all.
You're the blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learn every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward and start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart. Aligned in purpose, everything
All
will feel
that I
gorgeous.
am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all,
Every day I sit and pray cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan, but there's a million things that I can be grateful for.
So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am,
Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
Wait, one more. This is for y'all.
All that I am.
All that I've been.
It's a blessing.
It's so amazing.
I am grateful for it.
I'd like to welcome our featured guest, Nimo Patel, humanitarian and world-renowned hip-hop artist. Welcome, Nemo, to the World Consciousness Alliance, Renaissance of Humanity.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Santosh, for this warm welcome to the World Consciousness Alliance, and wanted to congratulate and celebrate the work that you all are doing to really uplift and transform, help that process of consciousness transformation throughout the world to bring more love and generosity and kindness. It's the spiritual revolution that can actually have sustainable change. You guys are working towards it. I think there are so many love warriors doing that. So thank you guys for being a big light in that movement.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much. And it's great to be with kindred spirit, and I know how much you've inspired me. I'd like to begin by sharing a very special quote that Nemo stated in one of his sessions that I attended, that resides in my heart all the time. And Nemo was telling a story about a frog. And I can't remember the exact details of the story, but the lesson in the story of the frog was, in the battle between the mind and the heart, sometimes let the heart win. And I think it had to do with a boy with an umbrella and a frog in the rain.
That's right.
It was just, ever since then, I have consciously let my heart win, even though my mind told me otherwise.
That's awesome, brother. And I remember that it's a drawing of a young child who has an umbrella, holding an umbrella over a frog on a really rainy day, and the child has all the raincoat on and everything, and the umbrella's over this frog who's an amphibian who doesn't care about having water splattered on. But that's the mind saying that, why are you holding the umbrella over the frog? But the heart is saying, what the child is thinking is just only from the heart, which is, I don't want that frog to suffer like I would if I didn't have it. And that's a beautiful memory, and the work that you guys are all doing, which is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Nemo, we all come from a world where we grow up, go through schools, we're educated, and we think that we have to follow a certain path. And you had it all. You had a degree from the best business school in the world, the Wharton School of Business. You had a high-paying job on Wall Street, and you received fame and fortune as an MTV Rap Star. But you left everything and dedicated your life to serving others. What caused that transformation for you, coming out and saying, I, me, mine, selfish thinking is not for me, and to focus on selfless caring of others?
That's that's a loaded question, brother. Well, it's funny, right? To leave all of that behind, right? Which is it's more of a popular kind of way of thinking for us, right? That what are we actually leaving behind and what are we gaining when I'm being selfless? Is that really the case, or am I being selfish for my own, joy? And I think that for me, brother, is a journey. I don't think there was any just one moment, but this journey of reflection, realization, suffering, reflection on that, and saying what's really bringing joy to my heart. And I think little by little, the selfish process of realizing in giving we receive, is kind of, I think, overall the realization that has led me more towards this path.
Yeah. Well, speaking of paths, you seem to have this perfect path, right? Coming out of high school, getting into a great school, getting a high-paying job, and succeeding at what appeared to be nearly everything you touched. Was there did you see a different path in the road? Was there any other person or existence that you saw while you're walking on this path that caught your eye?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were parts, there are different segments or phases where things kind of shine their light, you know? And whether it was like, and it wasn't always good. It was like when we were in New York and 9/11 happened in front of us, that's a major moment that's shining its light. It's there for a reason. It's saying, what does this mean to you? And how are you going to change for it? I don't want to leave this event the same person the next day or the next year or for the rest of my life. I have to, it was so close to my life that I hope it transforms me. Or when I saw a group of children come from India and performed a show in New Jersey, they're from underprivileged communities in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. And when they performed on stage in New Jersey and I saw them at that show, it left a seed in my heart. It was that, wow, this is amazing to see and to learn of their journey and to see the light they bring. I think like that, whether it was, there were moments of issues with my health. There were moments of ego and satisfaction with whatever successes I had a chance to be a part of. And all of that led to me feeling like there was still this empty feeling inside, that there's more to live for than for what I was doing. And I think that part really has driven the constant questioning, reflection, and hopefully little by little, changes and transformation that has brought me to a place where I feel more fulfilled.
Yeah. No, you bring up a good point, because events affect people in different ways, and we all live different realities. And 9/11 was definitely one of those moments that's important to keep in context, from the point of view of how we think today with love in our hearts, that while many solely characterize that as an act of terror, we can see deep within that there's also deep roots of pain in others.
For sure.
And so always keep in mind that there's always multiple sides to everything.
Yeah.
And we can see the pain in those who inflicted pain as well. Yeah, so you decided to serve others, and you're drawn to a grassroots organization, arts-based service at the Gandhi Ashram for underprivileged children in the slums of Ahmedabad. How have your experiences with these children affected your work that you're now doing to raise consciousness? In what ways did you transform their lives, and how were you transformed? How do you make use of these gifts and talents that these children have?
So I've been lucky and humbled and blessed to be serving with a group of love warriors at Manav Sadhana. It's a nonprofit in Gujarat in the Gandhi Ashram, and I think the reason why I've stayed there has been because of the spirit in which service is done, and in the spirit of small things are big things. Small things with great love, like Mother Teresa has once shared, is important. It's not always about huge change, one heart at a time, one soul at a time. And to get a chance to work with children in these communities, with the relationships that Manav Sadhana has built over 3 decades, was a gift. It was a gift for me. And to be honest, brother, like, the real way I would put it is the children that I've had a chance to spend, really deep amount of time and space with, they have changed my lives, right? They have changed my many lives that I've been living, but they have changed the life that I was living before. And now I think the transformation has come through those interactions, through those relationships. I feel like my journey has been a journey of how do I change myself? And in that process, if I am making the best effort of changing myself for the better, then I'm planting seeds in their lives that they might get out of, that they might water, that might serve their lives a better purpose as well. So it's this really mutual and symbiotic process. And I think a lot of times we think service as, it's like this, it's like, okay, you drop in this hand that needs it. And it's quite the opposite, it's
Two-way street.
So much so. If it's for the purpose of your own transformation, then it's 100% a two-way street. And it's a friendship. It's a relationship. It's a marriage, to really love unconditionally and learn and continue to be willing to grow through the process of that. And I think that's what it has, provided me and planted seeds, I know for sure, in our kids.
The beautiful thing about Seva is that the teacher, the giver, is actually benefiting significantly more. But the differentiator is how conscious we are, because we are subconsciously changing when we're doing Seva, whether we know it or not.
Sure.
And then one day you wake up and you have a totally different point of view, and those that reverse energy, the feedback, depending if you're scientific, is really important, So
Absolutely, yeah. And sometimes what I was thinking to myself when I did move there is that if I was going to treat it like another project, then there's no difference. It's just a costume, whether I'm in corporate America in the entertainment industry or serving, at a nonprofit. Ultimately, it's our own personal work, the inner work that we're doing while we're doing any of these things that I think creates, the value for me. So I think in this work, if I'm able to change myself, then there's no better process. And I think one of the quotes that inspired me even to step into this process was a quote by Mahatma Gandhi, that said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And that idea of kind of melting yourself, losing, like letting go of the wiring that you've created, being willing to learn and grow. And I think that process of finding ourselves again, after having created so much strong wiring up to that point in our lives, I think was an important part and is an important part of my process.
Absolutely. And one thing I realized at a younger age is how much our decisions are influenced by marketers. All the marketing on TV, all the different sources of media,
right,
that try to influence us into what we should want.
Sure.
And you've had a chance to live in a relatively humble, impoverished part of the world. These are areas where materialism, but there are other parts of the world where, because of those marketers, materialism has taken over societies. And even today, we see with social media, social media is being used as another way to influence our youth. How can we guide the youth from a life of indulging in the senses to one that is purposeful, where they see that their lives have meaning?
Yeah, it's not easy, man. This day and age with social media and the way our children are engaging with the technology, and then with the psychosocial feedback that they're receiving is really tough. I feel like ultimately the number one way for us to deal with this is to influence this is to be an example, right? For us to be examples, whether we're parents, mentors, uncles, teachers, educators, whatever it is. How do we be the best example? Because ultimately those are the seeds that we're planting in our children. And then two is like through, activities and experiments. And I think providing platforms for children to break out of that mindset and to engage in empowerment, in giving, in helping, in taking part in society, in connecting with nature. Again, because we're so busy, sometimes we don't engage with our children at that depth of giving them opportunities to break out, right? So actually, for many of us, technology has become our babysitter for our children. And where do we draw the line between saying they shouldn't do that to say, well, you need to take time out of your lives and we need to take time out of our lives to give them a better platform, to engage more deeply with them and to have those conversations and go out and have a service activity. I remember, I'm not here very often in America for Thanksgiving, but I remember there was a chance like 4 years ago where I was here after like 7 or 8 years, and it was awesome. My cousin rented a beach house for us in San Diego, and all of our family, about 25 of us, got together, and I was already feeling like kind of it was awesome that we were getting together, but I was not feeling so good about the idea of Thanksgiving at a beach house. in the spirit of giving. And so I thought there's beauty on both sides. And I was asking my sister-in-laws, all three of them, and my sister as well, that would they mind if we engage in a service activity for Thanksgiving and really make that kind of a central part of our experience together at the beach house. And they were all for it. And so the idea was that we were going to make gift baskets that then we would package together with the kids and then create artwork around it and then deliver it to actual homes of Syrian refugees in San Diego. And it was so amazing that all my sister-in-laws and my sister, they went out, did all the shopping. So by the time we all got together for Thanksgiving, we had all the possible goods that we talked about that were relevant to a gift package. Then we had a whole evening where it was art evening, where we brought the supplies of markers and pens and cardboard boxes and wraps and all that. So all the kids got together. We had told them days in advance that this was going to be a program that we were going to do while we were together. And then we all did that evening, which was a great family activity. I mean, it just brought a lot of life and spirit and purpose into our collective kind of space. And then literally then 2 days later, it was through a friend of a friend who's running the program in San Diego. And San Diego holds a lot of refugees. She took us literally from home to home. We had selected like 15 homes, and they're all in different parts of San Diego. So as a group, we were driving around San Diego, getting out, bringing the gift packages, going into these families' homes, sitting down, chatting with them for like 5 minutes, and then moving on to the next one. And for our kids to just and then also a whole other thing, it was just a video sharing and discussion around the refugee crisis with our kids. So in that experience, we were still at a beach house. We had fun. We were on the beach. We were doing everything, but we carved out a little time to learn about others and care about others. And I think the more we can all collectively just carve out a little time to help our kids engage, no matter if we're privileged or we're underprivileged, that has nothing to do with kindness, compassion, gratitude, and it's something we can all take part in our own small ways.
That's fantastic. That's a great way to balance, the luxuries we get to enjoy with merge them with our hearts connected to humanity. And in this day and age, in 2021, we've lived a year apart from other people. We use cell phones to stay in touch. Zoom, all this technology has caught up to us. And
right.
In fact, just last week we had our first visitors here in Florida, in New York, and they didn't know how to interact with people. They're like, this is all very strange, actually seeing and talking to other humans. And so I think there's going to be a lot of readapting back to society for a lot of people, because we've created these islands. For the last year, we've all been living in our separate islands and lost that personal connection that you get with physical interaction. Are there any thoughts you have on how we can bring humanity together at a heart level? I mean, your example with visiting your new neighbors, the refugees, was a great example. Any other thoughts on how we can bring humanity together at the heart level?
How do we wave hi more to our neighbors? I mean, what I've noticed from the 1980s when I was living in neighborhoods to now, just recently coming to mom and dad's home for the last 3 months, is that everyone's so closed off, and I know it's not all neighborhoods are like that, but a lot of them in America are like that. They're much different. Parents are a little more afraid of interactions their kids might have with them. So how do we open our hearts a little more? And no matter what the norm is, for us to come from that heart space. I remember I was walking with my cousin in London, and there was a lady and her daughter that were walking across the street, and I was like, hi. I was like, hi. And my cousin's sister was like, don't do that. You can't do that here. It'll be kind of like creepy. I was like, no, man, you can wave, you can share your love, you can interact with your community, and all of us aren't maybe in that way, like we're outgoing or vocal or whatever, but in small ways, I think we can bring love to our corners of the planet, and it doesn't have to be at a mass scale. And so to me, it's like at the wherever we have access points to engaging at the heart, we should, that's have fun with that and encourage that, even with our kids. And I think Zoom has also its room. Zoom is such a beautiful space where I've seen so many amazing connections, sharings. I was in one this earlier today with a group of about 20 people in London that were engaging in this. It's this, I guess, this month-long journey on gratitude, and it was just amazing to see how they're using the platform virtually to cultivate this spirit of giving, kindness, gratitude, and really embracing it. So I think, yeah, wherever we can right now, virtual, no problem. Maybe next door neighbor, yes, like wherever we can, let's do it and keep spreading that love and joy with our neighbors, with people around us,
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's important. Even in the elevator, people feel shy to talk in the elevator, but it's a great way to, just spread that love,
That's right, man. That's right.
So, the other thing that we saw in 2020, besides the pandemic, is human tendency to fall victim to drawing lines, right? We like to draw lines, borders, point out our differences.
Yeah.
When we know underlying it all, there are no differences amongst us. We want the same things. But there is it's very politicized here in the US, but in other parts of the world too, there's a negative paradigm pervasive around the globe with the resulting divisions that we see, the divisiveness, with prejudices, greed, wars, and so on. Are there ways that people such as yourself, as influencers, can make a difference and help to transform this paradigm into a positive paradigm where there's respect and acceptance of our differences, or even acknowledging that those differences aren't even material?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for influencers, I think, people that are influencers, they have platforms. So it's like, how do you engage in kindness and respect in your on whatever your platforms are? I think an example that I always look back to was President Barack Obama, and how he used his platform, like wherever he was at, he'd engage with people at their level. And at a presidential level, that's very impactful. All of us are not presidents of the country, right? So where do you have access to being the best self and using your platform for that? I think is so important. And of course, if that's something you believe in, and I think showing kindness in modern day talk, it's like the words you use on a post or on a reply, or, if you're an influencer, there are thousands of people looking at that. And for me, it's like, the songs that I write, I'm just finishing on a song called We the People, which is exactly about this. It's this that has inspired me to create this song. And that to me is my outlet, for example, to try to bring that. But aside from the lyrics and the songs, it's like, how do I actually engage that in my day-to-day life, wherever I am at, and see the people around me as my brother and sister, and really from my heart use those words. And I try to use those words more often than not, I think, and feel that when I'm engaging with, whether it's a stranger or not. It's like you said, it's like, but reality, might be a stranger, but he is my brother. And I know whether or not he feels that, but I feel it, and so I think just practicing that at whatever level we can, I think is important.
I remember one of the songs that really hit home to me that you sang was To My People.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that song is very relevant to this topic today?
Yeah, that's right. That is right. Yeah, to my people, yeah. You're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah. You're everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, yeah. You're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that I bow down to your heart of gold. I forgot some of those lyrics, but yeah, this idea of, bowing down and finding that love and common respect for all the beings that make up our web of life,
Yeah.
And I think even in the song, there is mention to, like, people that I don't know. You're a part of that web, you know, we are all a part of each other's web.
Maybe we can take a look at that clip.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, this one's called "To My People."
From the day that we were born, Mom hugged us with warmth, and we grew because we knew we had all your support. From the fams to the friends, your love was medicine, keep giving us the strength to rise when we would sin, and the knowledge that we gained through every single mistake. But you never backed down through this, you taught me faith. Every single one of you, through being you, you do find a way to spread love, truth through me and you. And it's because of you I grew, because of you I flew, because of you I made it through without residue. Because of you we all have a home to come to. You're a blessing to us all, so keep just being you. To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold, yeah. First I think the universe, the infinite, the all. Kaja, Allah, whatever name you call. Then I think the ancestors, yes, our predecessors. The wisdom and the knowledge that they passed only bless us. Shot the Marcus Garvey, MLK, Malcolm Gandhi, Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Tupac, they remind me the power of the pen, the music and the voice. Everything they've done let me know I have a choice. Now for my people, mom, pop, sister, brother, best friend, acquaintance, lover, co-worker. Even if I don't know you, but the good that you do helps me see my way through certain space. Thank you, sharing all the good. To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold, yeah. When I close my eyes, I always see learned souls who walk with me. They're taught to laugh, they're taught to love. You go to hug when push comes to shove. Turn the cheek, forgive, walk away. Tomorrow is another day. And life is short, helping hands, they say, are holier than the ones who to my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold, yeah. To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. To my people. To my people, yeah. To my people, to my people, yeah. Give my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. To my people.
The World Consciousness Alliance has a mission to work through the performing and visual arts to inspire humanity, to attain the highest of human existence, embodying compassion, kindness, selflessness, and love for one another. Do you have any thoughts on how others can be change agents in this renaissance of humanity?
Yeah, I mean, arts is a great way, but I love it because we all have our kind of toolkit, you know, and everyone's so different in what we can contribute to planet Earth and the web of life. And so I think one is this awakening / awareness that we all need to find, to say, well, I would like to do something more than more for others, or for the betterment of the world and for the betterment of myself. I think with that awareness comes then saying, what's the action that I can take? And I think that comes to like, hey man, we all have different tools in our toolkit. And for some, it's their laughter. For another, it's their hug. For another, it's their skill of being an amazing doctor. And another, it's, you know, being a garbage collector. And all of us in our spaces can contribute to this like energy field of just bringing love into that space, of bringing kindness. Because if I'm doing my work, so many times in a day will come that there are other responsibilities that are not mine, but that I can help with, or that I can take care of. Or there are people that come along the way that have nothing to do with my daily goals, but they need help. Or there's so many ways we can bring ourselves into that equation. One visual, Santosh, that I like thinking about sometimes is like, imagine yourself walking through your day. I mean, literally starting from your bed, you wake up, you walk to the bathroom, and then wherever you walk on that day, imagine chalk, powdered chalk just following you, right? So it's this big, by the end of the day, it's this big scribbly line across maybe a couple cities, across your town, inside your home. And imagine that that's your path that you have access to offer, to be gentle, to be kind, to be non-judgmental, to not be angry. Forget kindness, to just not get angry or be mean to somebody or say something back. That's your real estate you get to work with in your day. And like, how can we all have that, right? We all have a unique path that we walk in that day, and we all have the capacity to not hurt somebody and to be kind during that day. And I think that's where we bring in our gifts and our love, you know?
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your reference to this toolkit. You know, I never thought about it as a toolkit, but it reminds me of the analogy that you learn in sports or in business about playing to your strengths.
Right.
And if we can understand what are those acts of kindness and love toolkits, or the tools that we specialize with, whether it's a smile, a laughter, if we recognize what that tool is that's unique to us and our strength, and we try to use that tool on a daily basis, you know, on a regular
That's right.
basis. And before we know it becomes a habit that is constant, continuous, that we spread amongst everybody. So I never thought of those attributes as a toolkit. You know, so. So you know, in the World Consciousness Alliance, we often talk about compassion. What is compassion to you? How would you define it?
That's a good question. Compassion, woo, that's a loaded question, man. It's a to me, compassion is a feeling. It's a prayer. It's action. It's, you know, the feeling element is like the feeling of the joy of others and the feeling of the suffering of others. You know, like when we're feeling the joy of others, for us to keep supporting that joy that somebody else is feeling is compassion, you know? And when somebody's suffering, to say, how can I use this feeling of sadness or sympathy or empathy, whatever it is, to serve the reduction of their suffering and get them to a better space, to me is compassion. And prayer is kind of our way that we can do that if we're not always there, you know? And it's like, it's the energy field that we create. And action is just acting on that feeling that you're getting, acting on that hope or wish or prayer that you might have. And it might not be directly related, but I think that so to me, compassion is all of these. It leads to all of these. It leads to a feeling that you get inside, and then the action that you take based on what you're feeling to support others and ourselves.
So, you know, to a large part, the movie industry and the music industry are responsible for influencing our youth today. You've done a great job revolutionizing music with Empty Hands Music and its messaging, to write positive lyrics and making inspiring videos. Is there anything that you see that can have a positive effect on the quality of movies being filmed today, or the music being written, that could uplift humanity rather than succumb to the most base instincts of violence in the cloak of drama and coarseness, as opposed to the refinement in the expression of music? Any message to the music and film industries?
Well, I'll tell you what, I feel like with the democratization of music, of film, where there's more in the hands of the consumer now, more access and more touch points where we as a consumer can also determine what we want to watch. I actually feel like it's a dual responsibility. I wouldn't just put the onus on the creators. And what I mean by that is if I'm watching Netflix, Santosh, then I'm voting, right?
Yeah.
I'm voting for what is relevant, what is important, what these guys are going to invest in more of. You know, back in the days, 20, 30 years ago, I don't have much to vote for because there's only 5 options at the movie theater. And we see it, you know, to me, Netflix is a great example. I'm seeing so many more opportunities to tell important stories that would never have reached a platform of everyone's TV. But now it is. It's the story of a young refugee from the Democratic Republic of Congo whose story now is widely told because of this, you know, this democratization of the industry. And so I think it's happening. It's happening that there are more access points. More people are voting for something different. I think a lot of real life based story movies have become more and more part of the norm, right? Like based on a real story, and those tend to be message oriented movies with real life messages from that. So, but I even say, like, when I look at all the Disney movies or Pixar movies, I'm so grateful. There's always these powerful messages that are coming through. I mean, look at the movie Soul that just got released, or Inward or Onwards, the last one. These are Pixar movies, and they all have this deep. For Pixar, I was like, dang, this is an adult movie. It doesn't feel like a kid movie. The Soul, I'm talking about Soul, but they're churning through. You can feel what they must be churning through at the board meeting level and at the trying to determine what the story and the script is going to be. They're processing these ideas. So I'm very delighted at where I feel we are at from an entertainment industry perspective compared to years ago.
Yeah, no, you're right. The people have more of a voice now, or a digital footprint they're leaving, their voice with. And you referring to this as a democratization process just reminded me that even in one of the most popular horror films of recent past, Get Out, it actually had 2 alternative endings. The original ending was the hero dies at the end, and the alternative ending was that he lives, which is the ending that we see. And they had focus groups test the movie out, and people voted saying, we want to see him live. So it tells us people want a happy, positive ending. They don't want that. So industries do have focus groups, and so it was actually just reminding me that people want a happy ending.
Yeah, and sometimes like the happy ending is there, as well as the message to take away. Like what are we receiving from this to become better beings or to learn from? And I feel like a lot of movies are trending towards giving that type of messaging.
Absolutely. So, the WCA stands for a purposeful existence. Why do you think it's important to live with purpose?
It's not an easy question and answer. It's kind of, this is so subjective, right? I feel like having a purpose gives each soul more, in layman's terms, more bang for your buck while you're living, like you're getting direction. There's a reason. You know what you're trying to do. So from that selfish perspective of living, there's one angle. The second is, this is Empty Hands perspective as well. That's the name. That's the title the whole idea behind that title of Empty Hands is that we come empty-handed and we leave empty-handed. And how do you want to use this time in between? It's kind of a moment in time that you're getting. And to me, it's like to find purpose, to live from that space where your head, your heart, and your action, your hands are aligned. It just you feel more joyful, you feel more satisfied, and you're contributing to that same feeling for others to have as well. So it's kind of like, to contribute. We know that it feels good when you have that inside, and that others feel good when they have that feeling of joy and purpose inside. So then, okay, it makes sense that I would want to live a life where I'm contributing to more people feeling that, which is what WCA is doing.
Let me add something to this, because and when we live purposefully, and then I think I have a lot of purposes going on, and sometimes life is not as easy
Yeah.
when you're purposeful, right? So it goes down from, I see you drinking in a reusable water bottle. I try to avoid using, single-use plastics,
For sure.
And so I might be like so thirsty, but because of my purpose, I will wait till I find a water fountain or other
Right.
things. So do you find, how what would you say to people to encourage them to overcome sometimes the hardships of being purposeful?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many factors to it. It's exposing ourselves, right? So exposing ourselves to the workings of the world and to more people and to more cultures and to the environment, whether it's connecting with nature, with animals, with other cultures. I think exposure gives us understanding of how things are working, which then we digest, process, and realize that, wow, this world it's not just me.
Yes, connected.
It's all connected and I'm a part of it and I want to play a role in it, versus when I'm so narrow-minded that I feel like I'm the center of the world and then I'm just here to kind of gratify this, and when I don't get gratify this, then I get upset, and that's kind of just that daily living of, right, upset, temporary happiness, upset, and so I think it is like when we learn more, when we're exposed differently, when we're curious, when we're asking questions, and I think that's why education is important. I'm not saying a schooling system, I'm saying learning, the process of learning, being curious, asking questions and growing. It's all part of this journey of reflecting, thinking, and then eventually putting this idea of like, wait, what am I doing here? And who am I and what role am I playing in all of this? And then there's the spiritual process of being humbled by it and learning to do our small part. And sometimes it's a big role and sometimes a tiny role, but we're all being, getting a chance to be a part of this miracle while we're here.
So what would you say, we know that when we give to the world, we get back. For you, Nemo, what is the biggest thing, the most important thing the world has given back to you through all your service?
Just joy, man. Like it's I think it's pretty simple, like to realize that like I was sharing earlier, in the process of giving, you receive so much. And what do you receive? I mean, there's all types of things that we think about when we think about gain, and a lot of it happens to be capital and material, but I think that idea of just feeling satisfied and content and joyful and getting a lens to live a grateful life, and feeling fulfilled and like I have too much, and I think that feeling kind of is reciprocated back to wanting to, okay, what do I do with that? How do I use that? And it's not a transaction. I'm not here to serve so that I can receive something, or I'm not here to do this effort so that this happens. It's just the laws of nature, that as we give, we receive, and at some point you don't even notice it. But I do feel like it's a lot of internal work that I have to keep doing in order to be able to sustain that spirit. And when I say a lot of internal work, it's not like some heavy work. It's just the process of trying to be aware and constantly focus on the values that I deeply believe in, and make sure those are at the core and not like the end goal. That to me is a lifelong journey, and that's called to me it's the spiritual journey. Nemo,
when we introduced you, in addition to being humanitarian, we also said world-renowned rapper.
Yeah.
Before I get to my last question, I would love it if you could share with us a rap, a message that we can really resonate with in this interview.
So I have a little very tiny little rap for the WCA. I'll share. It's not a freestyle. Just got to be honest, but it's just something that I wrote before we got together here. But it's here we go. Here you go. It's pretty amazing to feel such a craving of love and help transform that through praying. Prayers of action that help heal and unify. Compassion in action to bring together you and I. This is the mission of the World Consciousness Alliance, to see the oneness in life and help us to inspire to keep trying. Try to be kind, try to serve side by side, that when we act from love, we see good in all mankind. Uplifting humanity, inspiring benevolence, the WCA promoting harmony, togetherness.
Wow! Wow, that was awesome. Oh my God, I got goosebumps.
So, yeah, thank you guys for doing the work you guys do. And may we all keep walking this, path together.
Well, I have one more question, but also, before we conclude here, the last question. I wanted to also let the audience know about how they can get access to your music. You have a new album that's coming out, and that's not yet titled. Nimo, can you tell us how they can go on your website and sign up so they get notifications about your music and how they can access your music?
Yeah, sure. Our website is empty hands, like empty hands, emptyhandsmusic.org. And on the website, you can download a free album, and it's called the Empty Hands album. It's this album, so that's offered for free download there. And then on the homepage, I think if you go down a little, there's an email subscriber list thing. So everything that we do is a gift to the world, and whenever we come out with new music or new music videos, it's shared through email. So that's the best way. And on YouTube, if you go to Empty Hands Music, we have like 10 or 12 music videos of all of our songs, and just to share the message and keep spreading a message of kindness and oneness and gratitude.
Great. So that's emptyhandsmusic.org. And so finally, we love focusing on the youth and influencing them. Can you give us a message that you'd like to send out to our youth today?
Oh, man. I think for me, the message would be love yourself and be kind to yourself, and don't judge yourself too much. And in doing so, love those around you, and don't judge those around you, and be kind to those around you. And I think for me, that encompasses everything that's needed, at least from my heart to the youth.
Absolutely. That's a great message. I'll make sure I'm going to pass that on to my boys. I tell you, Nimo, every time I see you, I get goosebumps. And even now, I don't know if you can tell, but my eyes are a little teary just from that WCA rap excerpt there that you gave us.
Oh, man.
It gave me goosebumps. And, as we discussed, the frog story, you have touched my heart for years and years and years. And I'm so happy to have the opportunity to share you with the WCA and the rest of the world.
Yeah, brother. Thank you for having me with you. And I'm just glad we're still connected after 20 years, man. Even more than 20 years since we've worked together at university. So what a blessing. Good brotherhood. Keep walking together, brother.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nimo. Really appreciate it.
All right, man. Love you. Take care.
To the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere in the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything
All
is a
that
gift.
I am.